Doc Talk is brought to you by Merck Animal Health, the science of healthier animals.
Hey folks, thanks for joining me on Doc Talk today. It's going to be a great show. I have Dr. Craig Iwanski, who is a veterinarian out of Stockton, Kansas. Today, Dr. Craig and I are going to talk about how to use genomics on your ranch and how to improve genomics to improve genetics and phenotypic decisions for your replacements and for the calves that you produce.
As dependable as the sunrise, in dairy parlors, open pastures, on ranches and feed yards across America. A place where reputation is more than a name, where the science of healthier animals is a way of life. It's the responsibility that drives who we are and what we do. Every decision, every day. It's your livelihood and our responsibility.
Closed captioning brought to you by AgriLabs, the perfect pairing of performance and value.
This segment brought to you by the new Hired Hand Portable Cow Sprayer. For more information, visit cowsprayer.com.
Hey folks, welcome to Doc Talk. We have a friend from Stockton, Kansas here, Dr. Craig Iwanski. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for asking me to be here. It's awesome to be here.
It's always awesome to get people here on the show, and Dr. Iwanski has an unbelievable practice out in the Stockton area, great Kansas practitioner. And you're a progressive practitioner. You've always been progressive. Every time I've gone to a meeting, you've been like, hey, I've got a new idea, or hey, I'm thinking about this, whether it's nutrition or genetics or whatever, and it always makes me better. And so I appreciate all you do for our profession and for our industry.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I really am very prideful of being a veterinarian, and I enjoy what I do every day, and I get to enjoy it with my wife also. So that has its own, it has its own pluses and minuses. But yeah, it's great every day to get up and try to help the producers and become more profitable, and what can we do to make that bottom line better, because that's what I feel we're here for.
You bet, you bet. So today we're going to talk about genomics. And you use Igenity and what was it? You use GeneMax and so let's just start out by just talking to me about what is this?
Basically, the way that I like to look at it is it's another tool in our toolbox to help us select the best replacements possible. A lot of times, if we weren't purebred registered producer, you have commercial herd. All you basically had was your yearly production records. Well, this cow weaned off this many pounds, and it had this big a calf, and we've had this many heifers that we've kept out of this cow. It's something more that we can look at, and it's something we can measure and put a number to it and rank our cows, or say have these heifers met our production goals that we want.
So what type of a sample do you take?
There are a number of ways. I prefer taking hair samples. We take it out of towards the end of the tail, or you can do blood, or you can do a skin sample. We take an ear notch. There's a special tag that Allflex has come out with where it takes a sample, it leaves a tag in the calf's ear, and takes it all and puts it into a sample that can be
so you get like a core sample then?
A core sample, yes.
Okay.
And those have been proved. When we first had the first ones, we had a lot of NRs or no results when we get it back. So I've went to hair, and I have a very, very low amount that we do not get results from now. And the hair knot or the skin samplers now that they have are much better.
Gotcha. Well, it's so you're doing this on the baby calves then when they hit the ground and you put a tag in their ear. You can do it at that age.
You can do it at that age. Most of what we are doing with our clients is when we're doing it after weaning, or sometimes we'll do it at weaning. Anytime we're having a processing event, that is a great time to do it. So if we're taking those heifers, we're doing it at weaning, take a sample then, and if we're putting them in the feed yard, we're going to grow them for a while. Then we have time to get those samples back, which it usually takes a month to get the samples back from the time we get them to the lab. It doesn't matter which one we're using. It's month time usually. And then we can look at those and make our decisions, how they grow, how they look later on, and make the decisions to help us.
You bet. Well, let's take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about what you're getting out of it and how you're moving things forward. I appreciate you being here. We appreciate you watching Doc Talk. More after these messages.
This Prevention Works Minute, brought to you by Boehringer Ingelheim Vetmedica, Inc.
Hey folks, welcome to our Prevention Works Minute. This is an outstanding segment, and I'm really glad that we're getting to do this when we talk about preventative medicine for cattle. Biosecurity is important, and a good key component to that is vaccination. When we vaccinate an animal, one thing you need to understand is that they do not work immediately. Matter of fact, it takes 7 to 14 days before the animal, once it's vaccinated, to actually start having an immune response that produces antibodies that are specific for a disease in which we would vaccinate them for. So if I vaccinate a calf for IBR, it's 7 to 14 days before that animal is protected or has antibody to neutralize IBR virus. Once we get out there to 14 to 21 days, the body has memory cells for IBR. That's why we give them a booster, and we get that booster in our titer response. Vaccines don't work immediately, but they're really good for prevention.
Say this is a calf that's been run through the chute a few too many times. Going through the chute stresses cattle, causing them not to eat like they should. Luckily, Pyramid 5 plus Presponse SQ provides proven protection against key respiratory diseases in a single shot, with just one trip through the chute. Talk to your veterinarian about Pyramid 5 plus Presponse SQ, and soon your calves will relax and eat like a whole different animal.
No matter where, no matter why, the Veterinary Health Center at Kansas State University is committed to providing quality patient care to animals and exceptional customer service to their owners. From routine checkups to emergency and specialty care, our world-renowned specialists and experienced professionals are here to discover, to teach, and to heal.
Let us know.
How can I help?
How can we help?
This segment brought to you by the new Hired Hand Portable Cow Sprayer. For more information, visit cowsprayer.com.
Hey folks, welcome back to Doc Talk. Dr. Dan Thompson and Dr. Craig Iwanski. He is a practitioner in Stockton, Kansas, out just about 2 hours west of me.
That's right.
And God's country, right?
It's not too bad. It's pretty good. As long as we get rain. It's the most beautiful area in the world, as long as you get the rain.
That's right. That's right. I've yet to be a place where that was not true.
That's true. That's true.
So we're talking about genomics, and so let's say, okay, so we go out, regardless of when you take a sample and what sample you take, it takes a month to get the information back. Now, what kind of information are you gathering from taking these genomic samples from these cattle?
Okay, and it depends. You can get what they call a full profile, where it has your maternal traits, it has your carcass traits, it has all different ones. The ones that we usually do with these, they have either a heifer profile, or they'll call it, there's, as far as GeneMax, there's GeneMax as far as the feeder side and on the cow side, and then with the Igenity, they have like an Angus Silver, which is more just the heifer traits that we like to look at as far as picking replacement heifers and not the full profile.
So what would some of those be? What would be some of those
we'd
heifer
look
traits?
at docility, there would be marbling, average daily gain. And another one that we look at, it's not very highly heritable, but is stayability. And that is the chances of her still being in that herd after the age of 6. which, and if you do all the economics, that is kind of a break-even point, I've always felt. And that's the way I was taught, was if you can get a cow and she's producing a calf and she gets to 6 years of age, well, then she's really paid for herself, and now we can really start.
She gets an extra scoop of cubes.
That's right. She's starting to put money in your pocket instead of just breaking even on it or paying herself off.
Yeah, and so does it come in a format that would be similar to what we get with EPDs, or something that producers are used to reading and understanding?
Yeah, it is a chart, and it just kind of comes in each one. And the way that we have it, there's also an index also where it will rank each herd. It will, based on, you can weight certain traits to a certain amount that you want to. If you want to put more pressure on stability, or if you want to put more pressure on your carcass traits, you can do that, and then it'll give us an index, and it'll rank those individual animals from top to bottom.
Okay, so then the thing is, you got to get with your veterinarian or with your nutritionist or your banker and decide which one of these things do I want to go for.
Right, and it just kind of depends, and that's where I like to see, we always talk about and have your goal in mind first. If I know where we're going, then we know how to get there. So if somebody says, well, I'm able to get my carcass data, and we really just don't have the percent choice, and I just don't have enough of those, and so we need to look more at carcass.
Yep.
So we can adjust that to pick those number one that have that trait that is more towards the carcass based, or if we are knocking it out of the park on our carcass data, and we just don't have maybe the stability, our cows aren't staying in the herd as long, well, then maybe we can start looking at maternal sides.
Great. Folks, we're going to take a break. This is some interesting stuff. More with Dr. Craig Iwanski after these messages.
Some call it a come-from-behind victory, an unlikely win, a reversal of fortune, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. This is our moment. Our victory dance, because we choose confidence. We choose Zuprevo for BRD treatment. Ask your veterinarian to prescribe Zuprevo. Zuprevo is a fast-acting, long-lasting BRD treatment that you can count on to get the job done. Choose confidence. Choose Zuprevo from Merck Animal Health.
Do your cattle struggle with pink eye, BRD, or another disease? Contact Newport Laboratories for a customized solution. Our custom-made vaccines are produced using the specific diseases found in your area. These USDA licensed vaccines offer potential cost savings on vaccine and labor. Contact your veterinarian or Newport Laboratories the next time your cattle are in need of a custom solution. Newport Laboratories custom-made vaccine, because every situation is different.
It must be an inherited trait, because I have never wanted to do anything other than be in the cattle business. And it's interesting, as I have grandchildren now, little bitty ones, all they want to do is go to the barn, swing a rope, and be a cowboy. It's something, it's a lifestyle that we have, the way we make a living, obviously. But it's really more than that. It gives us the opportunity as a family to be able to work together and enjoy each other's company and make a living at the same time. We've been using Triangle for years, and the reason we do it has been safe and effective, and we're going to continue to do that. We'll put the cows in the chute twice a year, spring and fall. 100% of our cattle get vaccinated with Triangle.
Calves require adequate, high-quality colostrum immediately following birth to receive the immune and nutritional support needed to fight diseases and thrive. Next-generation Colostrix colostrum replacer and supplement are USDA licensed to aid in the treatment of failure of passive transfer and contain natural maternal bovine colostrum antibodies against E. coli K99. Ask your animal health supplier for Colostrix or visit agrilabs.com for details. Colostrix makes all systems go.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Hey folks, welcome back to Doc Talk. Dr. Dan Thompson with Dr. Craig Iwanski. He's a veterinarian, Kansas State graduate.
1996.
1996, and he is practicing out in Stockton, Kansas, and has a progressive beef practice, many different things, mixed animal practice, but he really has a passion for beef. And you know, we're talking about the genomics testing. Talk to me a little bit about, you know, the how you match different animals and how you pick the animals then differently now than what you used to.
Okay. Yeah, and probably, like I said, it is an extra tool, so it's more than just looking at that cow and looking at her phenotypical way she is, or like I said, knowing that, well, her mom was a good cow, and that now we can put some numbers to that and quantify and actually prove it. So when we get these production indexes, and then each trait is weighted, and like on Igenity, it's from 1 to 10, and then on the GeneMax Advantage, it goes from 1 to 100. So basically the same, it's just they measure it a little different or report it different. So like on the Igenities, I guess to me, I'm always looking for that super cow.
Right.
I want to get rid of the extremes. You know, if they're a 1, 2, or 3 in one trait and maybe a 10 in the other, I will try to tend to get rid of those. I'm looking for that super guy. And me, and everybody has their own way they like to do it, but when I'm helping our producers, I'm like...
You're trying to balance your cows up for different traits. Yeah. You don't want to have one that's really high on carcass and poor on performance. You're looking for that balance between the two. And this just allows you, instead of just waiting until you have EPDs on an animal, that you can start to make decisions before that animal's even reproduced.
Right. Yeah, and it really gives us a head start, or gives us an idea of where we're at. So then we take those numbers, and like I said, I'm always looking for that super cow. So then we'll also segregate those groups to where if we have a set of heifers that we're looking at that may be more maternally, and then we have another set of the same group of heifers that maybe they're a little more carcass, well, we don't have to breed every heifer to the same bull because he's some low birth weight, easy calf and Angus. Now we're able to get those Angus bulls that are, or any other breed, where they're easy calving, but yet we can still get the performance. So you're not, you know, they calve real easy, but then we have a 400-pound little dink come October that isn't as marketable. So we're able to segregate that, and we breed, and I'll help people pick certain bulls for certain groups of heifers, so we can try to hone in on to get that super cow where they're balanced all the way across.
Yeah, or that super calf. And you're also talking about, you know, if you have those high growth rate heifers, you know, putting a bull that maybe has more of a maternal background, and so I see and I get it. It's no different than what we have done in some of our crossbreeding and genetics. Exactly. But now, when you have that individual animal information, you can start to tailor make your crosses.
And it correlates, especially when you have those the ones that are more highly heritable, your carcass genetics, things like that, where I've on our own herd, where we have seen what the steers have done on the carcass data, and we look back at the heifers. Very good correlation, and it's a good way to, a good tool to help you further your herd's genetics to make more progress.
Perfect. We're going to talk a little bit more about this technology as a wrap-up session with Dr. Craig Iwanski.
Did you know long-range planning through the checkoff can help keep your business profitable? To successfully pass on cattle operations from one generation to the next, it's important to promote beef and keep farms and ranches profitable. Your beef checkoff helps do that.
We are Mike and
Martha
Armitage here at the A-Bar Ranch, Claremore, Oklahoma. We have a cow-calf production company, and we also have a marketing company. We have entertained groups brought to us by the Beef Checkoff, such as South Korean media that covered our operation and brought the good news back to South Korea.
That was a really neat experience, and that we got to have young people from another country that we got to experience a lot of different things in their culture, but got to share our culture too.
We live on the Squaw Creek Ranch. Here is a division of the A-Bar Ranch.
As a wife and a mother, and also with my background in more of a health field, I look at just the nutritional value, and it's great that the Beef Checkoff offers that kind of information to the consumers that are out there.
We both are proud to come from agricultural, more specifically ranching backgrounds.
My dad is a part of the Beef Checkoff board, and so the Beef Checkoff has been something that we promote and that we support what it has to offer.
Not everybody who's in agriculture is tech savvy on Facebook and through social media. Most people in the city happen to be, and they are very disconnected from our day-to-day routines, and that's one thing that makes me proud of the Beef Checkoff, them going to bat for us, from those who aren't necessarily anti-ag, but just simply don't know and they aren't getting the information.
As producers, we're strong supporters of that and hope that many of you out there realize all of the different things that the Beef Checkoff brings to the table for us as producers.
It's easy to spot the man who uses Synanthic. With lower volume and less waste, Synanthic steps up your deworming routine. Get more deworming with less dewormer at Synanthic.com.
Beringer Ingelheim Vetmedica Inc. knows the importance of beef quality assurance and asks you to step up and get certified. Go to bqa.org for details.
No matter where, no matter why, the Veterinary Health Center at Kansas State University is committed to providing quality patient care to animals and exceptional customer service to their owners. From routine checkups to emergency and specialty care, our world-renowned specialists and experienced professionals are here to discover, to teach, and to heal.
Let us know. How can I help? How can we help?
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Hey folks, welcome back to Doc Talk. Dr. Dan Thompson here with Dr. Craig Iwanski. We're talking about the use of genomics, whatever type of program you want to use. Dr. Iwanski's using IGeneX and GeneMax. Sorry, I'm getting there. I'm a feedlot guy, so you got to bear with me a little bit. So, so what we decided to do in this wrap up was, like, I walk in as a new farmer or rancher and I say, hey, I want to use some of this genomics testing. How do we set it up, Doc?
Well, basically, first thing we'd have to get the cattle in the chute and get a sample. So, like I said, whether it's at weaning, you could do it when you process calves going to grass. Any time that they're caught, you can take that sample because that should not change, whether they're 30 days old or 10 months old.
Right.
It should be the same. So it's going to get us the same information. So most of our producers in our situation out there, either at weaning or when we're bangs vaccinating the heifers, ReproTrack scoring them prior to breeding, if we have enough time, if it's 2 to 3 months ahead of time. And we're giving them pre-breeding vaccinations.
Because it takes a month to get it back.
A month. Usually, they'll say, 10 to 14 business days, but in doing this the last 5-6 years, it's a month.
Yeah, so you don't want to do it right, when you're giving heifer shots or pre-breeding shots and you got a month to go. You want to make sure that we have it back at weaning or
exactly. So when our spring calving herds, anytime after the first of the year, and I try to get everything done at least by middle of March, 1st of April, so we can make those decisions and look where we're at. So if we can get the sample, send it in, and then once we get the results, and then they have benchmarks through these companies that you can say, well, okay, I have all these numbers, what does it mean? Well, you have to have a benchmark. Okay, so they have an average for every animal for a certain breed, be it Red Angus or if it's Angus. For that breed, they have a benchmark. So you can say, well, I'm ahead or I'm above average in this or I'm below. And then that will help you gauge where we need to go in the future or who we need to look for.
Yeah. How much does something like this cost usually?
Most of it, we can get the profiles, and I usually will add in a BVD, persistently infected test also. $28.50 is where it's at today. And that's stayed pretty consistent. And that's the one thing, as we get more technologies and more numbers, it's getting cheaper. So that's good. And that means more people will incorporate this into their decision-making process on the ranch.
Yeah, and you can see it, I mean, on a $1,500 or $2,500 or $6,000 bull, you know, whether it's a market calf or a replacement heifer or a bull we're going to sell, that's a pretty cheap investment.
It is, and it gets more, and like I said, and everybody that's bought a bull, or you'll see the GeneSeek, or you'll see all the different little insignias in the bull magazines where it says, you know, genomically enhanced EPD. So we're using these also in the purebred side, but it's beautiful that we can have this for our commercial side also.
Well, thanks a million for taking the time to be on the show. Thank you for watching Doc Talk. Remember, if you want to know more about what we do here, you can find us on the web at www.doctalktv.com. Always work with your local veterinarian. We appreciate you watching the show. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson, and I'll see you down the road.
Closed captioning brought to you by AgriLabs, the perfect pairing of performance and value. Doc Talk was brought to you by Merck Animal Health, the science of healthier animals.